James Wiseman is being sent to the G League for an extended period of time. Well, what does that mean, extended period of time? I mean, I spend an extended period of time on the toilet most days, so it's all relative, right? But staying on subject, shitting yourself. James Wiseman. First 10 games, it just hasn't looked good by any accounts, right? And, my daughter asked me this question. By the way, much appreciated support for her basketball team. She raised, I believe, the most on the team. So very humbling and grateful that you guys were so quick to support her. Thank you. I'll keep you guys posted on how her season goes and even maybe upload some highlights and stuff like that. She asked me last night, we're watching, and she goes, well, if Kuminga makes just as many mistakes as Wiseman, then why are people so much harder on Wiseman than Kuminga? It's easier to put out a fire than to start one, right? That's a favorite saying of a lot of coaches across all sports, right? And it's the context of the mistakes. It's what type of mistakes are being made. Jonathan Kuminga, for the most part, makes mistakes out of aggression. He closes out reckless and fouls a shooter. Right? He's too aggressive. He's reaching. He's too up on the body. He gets downhill with so much speed, it's a charge. Right? He shoots a lane to steal a pass. He misses. Now, granted, both of them, all the young guys, have mental lapses where they think it just takes one effort on a possession and it's really two or three. They all have that. But generally speaking, Kuminga makes mistakes where you look at it and you say, well, we can fix that, right? Again, it's easier to put out a fire than to start one. If he's too intense, too aggressive, it's much easier to calm him down. Where you look at James Wiseman and the context of these mistakes, they are mistakes that I think a lot of us look at and say, I'm not sure you can fix that. I'm not sure that's repairable, right? Give you some examples. The rebound. I spazzed out in the breakdown today. It's just, there's ones that he should gobble up. When he has the box out at 7 foot and it falls in front of him, you got to gobble that up, right? The screen setting or a lack thereof screen setting. How badly he misses setting the screen, getting contact, right? At a certain point here, you have to start to question the want. By all accounts, great kid, smart. Rebounding is your chance to compete. I think a great coach once said that, right? In screen setting, look, there's technique to both of it, but a good portion of it is like, do you want to do it or not, bro? Do you want to rebound or not? Do you want to set the screen or not? And at this point, I think it's fair to ask those questions of Wiseman. And again, it's harder to start the fire. It's harder to start the fire. Another example I'll give you, and some of you may say, well, this is, anyway, we have differing opinions. He's a polarizing project at this point. I have watched James Wiseman guarding his man at the high post on the elbow at least 10 times this year, where his man has the ball and he's getting ready for a dribble handoff. The guy comes from a mile away. Here comes the guard. He's going to take the handoff, and Wiseman stands there and doesn't even blink. The guard takes the ball, turns the corner, and it's like a layup drill. It's those type of mistakes where you're like, hey man, I don't know if he's going to get it. He could be a genius. We know what does he speak? Tangerine or something like that. He speaks multiple languages, by all accounts, smart, great kid, right? But his processing speed, it's just not there. And again, the mistakes, they're not all created equally. And so I think that's why you see Wiseman, people are far more down on him than Kuminga, because to even the layman eye, the casual fan, I should say, you understand, oh, he could fix that, right? Young guy, like the young guys have the typical things. Some of the Wiseman stuff, you're like, I don't know, right? And so now he goes to the G League, and Kerr, I don't think I've ever seen Kerr lie through his teeth as much as he has when it comes to Wiseman. Anyway, I'm going to leave that alone. But they're going to spin this just like what they did with Jordan Poole when it wasn't last year, right? It was the year before. Was it the year before when he went to the G League for a couple weeks and came back and just looked much better. And you even heard a quote from Poole after his first official pool party of the season last night, where he said, I just told him, hey man, you're going to go down there. You're going to play a lot. You're going to get as many shots as you want. You're going to get to play how you want. Is he? Should he? Right? I think it's a little different for a guard, right? Because guards they have a lot more control of how the game's being played. And that's cool if you want to send him down there and give him 12 post touches. He ain't going to get him up here, right? Like set screens and rebounds. And I know that he's only played like 60 games. We get all the excuses. It's not complicated, bro. You go put him. Here's what I would tell him. I would be like, hey, James, I'm not even worried about the moving screen, fam. I want you to go lay this fool out. You seen Loon? How are you around Looney and Draymond every day almost for 3 years and you can't set a screen? So instead of having him with this cautious approach, just send him out there to be aggressive and physical. He has 2 offensive fouls on screens. Fine. I'd rather see him make contact. Let the defender know you might get laid down. And so, yeah, man, it's frustrating. I guess the other question now is, is this their way of acknowledging, hey, he's not going to help us this year, right? And we've got a long way. Maybe their plan is, I'm sure, I haven't read the PR of it, but he'll come back and he'll be ready, just like Jordan was. Okay, I think that, we all see the writing on the wall, like, all right, he's not ready now. Well, the problem is they've constructed this roster for him he's really the only true big, right? And so now, with that 15th spot, who's available? Dwight Howard, is he in Taiwan? I know a lot of people were DMing me about his comment. Was he on All the Smoke, or he was on Shannon Sharp's podcast, right? Hey, he said almost verbatim what I said in the summer. I was like, hey, bring him in, let him mentor Wiseman, let him be physical with him every day, and just by osmosis, hopefully, we can get him being more physical. I don't know if you can pay his contract out. He's probably making more over there than he would on a vet min here. I don't know what the deal is there. The other name that I haven't heard being brought up much, but is an obvious fit, is Derek Favors. Was bought out. He gets traded every year, right? Was he in Houston when he got bought out? Was he in OKC? I don't know. He got bought out. The problem with Derek Favors is staying on the floor, right? He has real durability issues. He's one of the oldest young men in the league. You think Loon, it looks rough. Derek, they're peas in a pod, but no slander at Loon. Loon's been a monster this year, man. So there's Derek Favors, Dwight Howard, that ship may have sailed. The other issue that they may run into here is you've left that 15th spot open. One, because we know the tax implications of that, right? It's like 3 times what it would be. Anthony Lamb looks like an NBA player, right? And you see the stroke. Some say, who he kind of reminds me of? He's like a George Niang, right? And he may be more talented than Niang, but he's kind of like this oafy forward who's slow but somehow super effective. And you can tell Kerr loves him. He just understands the system. He rebounds, he's long, he shoots. And so the point is, do they perhaps want to convert him into that 15th spot? Because if you look at the last week of play, it looks like it was headed that way. Much like, was that the similar situation with GP2 last year? I believe it's in January, where they've got to either guarantee it or keep him as a 2-way or whatever. So are they going to bring him into that 15th spot and say, all right, fine, he's part of the rotation, Wiseman's in the G League? He clearly fits the system. He looks like he can contribute, but he doesn't really solve the size issue. He just makes Cisco even smaller, right? Essentially, if he's playing the 4, sometimes the 5, and you look at the regular season, and that's probably what we should be focused on at this point, considering the start of it, right? We can't take it for granted. We got to rack up some wins here. So I'm not saying he's not valuable, but when you look ahead into the playoffs, does he help you against Memphis? Does he help you against Denver? Phoenix? Utah's big. I'm getting ahead of myself here, right? But you see what I'm saying is he doesn't solve that issue. And so I don't know what their plans are, or they're going to just wait it out and see if someone else is on the buyout market. If you have another name that you possibly think it could be bought out that would fit, leave it in the comments. The other possibility is a trade, right? And the name that's been thrown out over and over again is Jakob Poeltl, who we saw last night for the Spurs. Matching salaries, 1-year deal, does all the things that Wiseman doesn't, right? Rebounds, physical, sets screens. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He didn't look too great last night, but I think he's the type of guy that wants to play for something. And as the season goes on and they don't have any guards playing and they're not really concerned with winning, that probably hurts his style of play. I have a couple trade ideas that I'll share in the extended clip for Patreon here. But yeah, that's the news out of the feel-good win last night, man. I don't want to just come with straight negative news. That win last night was much needed chicken soup, the first official pool party, and something that I think a lot of you have noticed. He plays so much better when he starts. And I think it's just because he's patient. He doesn't try to get it all at once. He knows he's going to play 30 minutes, and all of a sudden he plays with pace, and he's just more on balance and in control, and he exploded last night. I said it in the breakdown that, they defended. I don't know if they defended. The Spurs looked pretty rough last night, right? And then we exploded from three-point line. But you need these games sprinkled in where we're not reliant on Steph, and he could rest in within the season. So I'll take it how we could get it right now because we need it. You got Phoenix tomorrow, a chance to make have a meaningful win on this season. It's going to take to the 15th game to have an actual meaningful win. So again, we can't take the regular season for granted. But James Wiseman, it is what it is, man. I'm sure some of you will continue to say, hey, look how young he is. You're right. The difference is the timetable. The Warriors don't have time. They don't have time. Steph is in his prime at 35 years old somehow. You can't wait on this kid to figure out how to set a screen. You can't do it. I'll be back with maybe we'll talk some more about this Anthony Lamb kid in his situation here in the next few days because there are some issues. But hopefully we can get this win in Phoenix tomorrow. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.